Well, hello, everybody. It is TexAgs Rewind. We are presented by myself because I'm David Nuno. I'm the presenter, and that's what I do on this show. It's a kind of a look back at what we do on TexAgs Radio. So if you didn't know that, thanks for watching this video. What are you doing here? Are you that Arkansas guy who was talking on our thread earlier? Hey, I love when other fan bases come and watch the show. Some of them are very cordial, and some of them are very rude. Either way, it helps the algorithm. So thank you very much. Today on the show, OB, his big shot of the week. We talked about a bunch of those. Thanks to our big shots, by the way. Anais, Andre White, we had Keith Brown. A lot of those guys had some big shot performances out there. Jamie McCoy was on the show, the former Texas A&M tight end. So was Jordan Pugh. They gave great perspective from a player, from an offensive side and a defensive side. And we also talked to the App State head coach, Shawn. He broke things down about their almost win over North Carolina and how tough of a match it's going to be against Texas A&M this Saturday. It is TexAgs Rewind.
Yeah, to me it's tough because you can look at Anais and say, man, look at the game he had. He had a career day.
Yep.
And that would be easy to call. But you almost always, at least I almost feel like I have to pick a defensive guy for that. But it's hard because, like, the pass rush, it was coming from everywhere.
Yep.
Like, I was really impressed with Anais White. And I don't even know if he ever I think he got credited for half a sack.
But he was out there doing stuff.
He was out there. And I remember, again, I talked yesterday about Walter Nolan, what he was doing. And, Overton, and so I don't know who I'd pick because there's just so many guys that did so many good things on defense.
Well, since I know we have video of somebody, can we do Andre White?
Who pray tell would that be?
Andre White. Let's show a little Andre White action out there.
The other guy with the surname of White.
He was involved. He was, obviously tipped that pass right there that led to the interception. But he was involved in many plays and was quite vocal when he got injured later on. You could hear him on the big, the referee microphone.
Yeah. He forced a fumble, broke up 2 passes. I think he had 5 tackles. So all in all, a really good day for a guy that, I don't know, I guess there's been a little bit of concern at that linebacker spot opposite Edring Cooper.
Hopefully he's not out for a long time.
If White plays like that all the time, then you don't have to be concerned.
Yeah, we asked Jimbo about him yesterday, and there was nothing new on that. So there is that. The other person I'm going to bring up, OB, is the guy who deserves credit for sticking with this program for another year, helping his NFL draft status, and he certainly did that. That is Anais, who had, I think, like the kind of game that you expect Anais Smith to have. The kind of game, not expect, let me rephrase that. The kind of game you hope from him every once in a while, and he started the season with a bang.
Well, I think what you're trying to say is you're not surprised when he does.
No, you're not surprised, but he's also, we don't talk about him enough at times. Hey, let's talk a little bit about A-Chain for a moment and the fact that, look, we know the offensive line had their struggles, but I don't care how fast you are, and A-Chain is the fastest out there. If people aren't blocking, you're not going to be able to run, right? Like, so when we look at A-Chain's numbers and we're unhappy with the production, really, it was about the line more than it was about A-Chain, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can only do what you can do. Like they say, control what you can control. If you get in the ball and there's 2 guys around you and you make a cut, somebody grabs a leg, that's all you can do. I'm not too discouraged by his day. I know for him, he probably wanted to start the season off and, maybe get into some Heisman talk or whatever the case may be. But like I said, you got to take what you can get, take what they give you. I'm not too concerned with his numbers. I know that the running of the ball, like you said, once we get some of our hogs back, the running is going to happen, and we have to be a good run. Like I said, Jimbo wants to be balanced. So we're going to have to run the ball. I know the run is going to come, and for me, I just kind of count it as we're holding some of our cards and waiting for some of the more difficult opponents that we're going to face here early in the season.
During your time at App State, I found this stat that I thought was pretty incredible. You're 5-1 following a loss. I know it goes back to the program and what you guys have been doing here for several decades now, but what do you attribute that to, how you guys bounce back so often after a loss?
Well, we have a lot of pride here at Appalachian State, and we expect to win. And I think that it starts there. And, I think it starts back into our off-season program. We're kind of old school in some ways. We're the 6 a.m. workouts. We do different things here in Boone. In the summertime, we run a ski mountain. We run this thing called Howard's Knob. And, just to instill some toughness in you. It's not like the old days where you can go out and just, be on your players during fall camps. You have to be creative and a way to make your guys tough. And So I think that has a lot to do with it. We start spring ball early here. We start winter ball. Our spring ball starts in February. We go out in the snow and the rain, and because that's what we're going to play in here in November and December. So we don't want our players to be scared of it when it happens.
Going on the road, playing at Kyle Field is a tough task for anybody. What do you want to clean up from week 1 to week 2?
Well, we have a lot to clean up on defense. There's no question about that. And, we have to do a lot better job of fitting on our defense. We run a 3-4 defense. And if you don't fit just right, that can cause some for major problems. And we saw that this past week versus North Carolina. We didn't fit right. We didn't tackle well. So we have to get back and doing that. On offense, we have to do a better job of, our substitution. And the crowd was 40-some thousand people here. It's an all-time record. We're about to go into a very hostile environment without question. So we have to clean those things up and really just play clean football. If we can do that and not make many mistakes, we'll be just fine. So I know our kids are excited. We bounced back yesterday, and they're excited to come down there to College Station.
All right, when you put the film on, what is apparent when you look at this rendition of the Texas A&M football team?
Well, size and speed, and there is a difference. You look at the top echelon of programs, especially in the SEC. I mean, that's the highest level you possibly can get, and just the way they recruit and some of their players. I mean, I look at those two safeties you have, and Richardson and Johnson, and they're phenomenal players. And I just can't really you can't single out those two because you look across that front, and you're like, oh my gosh, these guys are unbelievable. Then I flip on the offensive side of Texas A&M, and Smith, number 0, he plays every position except the offensive line, I believe. And I look at your line; you're 6'4", 6'5", 315 plus, but that attributes to Coach Fisher and how he recruits. Him and his staff recruit, and we're not recruiting the same kind of guys. And again, I do think that when this year is over, Texas A&M, they'll be in the hunt for the national championship.
Beyond the recruiting, what jumps out at you at Jimbo Fisher, the head coach that he is?
Well, I don't know him personally, but I followed him from afar for a long time. When he even was back at Cincinnati and LSU, and just how he conducts himself. I mean, I hope I'm that way in a lot of ways, and no nonsense. I mean, you watch him, listen to his press conferences, the way he talks about his players. He treats his players very well, and just how he runs his program. Again, I'm watching from afar, but it seems like going the right way. And I think we need more people like that in college football.
All right, back to freshmen now on the defensive side. A lot of those jokers got in the game, and I mean that with a lot of love. They certainly look like players.
Yep. The one who stood out the most was Stewart. I think Shamar Stewart. He stood out. You saw him play with great pad level, great leverage. He was in the backfield a lot. But you look at just the rotational pieces, man. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, was it Denver Harris that got in too at the corner position? I saw him flash a little bit as well. But when you look at just the freshman pieces and the acquisition of talent, it's something special brewing down there. I just think now it's more about the mental part and having them understand what it takes to win on a weekly basis. And not just win, but be dominant and expect dominance. And so, I just think moving forward, that's the task that Jimbo has this year. He's accumulated the talent over the years. Everybody gets caught up on the number 1 class that we had this past year, but he's been putting top 5 classes together for the past 2 or 3 years. Now you've acquired that talent. It's the mentality portion now. That's the last thing, the last little flip we got to switch. So I'm excited about the young guys and what's coming.
All right, Jordan, last thing for you. What has to happen against App State this weekend?
They need to dominate, and they need to be explosive on offense. Defense will always be ahead of the offense because it's a reactionary thing that you do on defense. Hey, man, it's see ball, go get ball in its simplest form, right? Be physical, create chaos. Offense, you got to create that chemistry, create the balance. You have to find the identity on offense. The thing that I think that we struggled with in the first week is we had no identity. We didn't know what we were. We wanted to try and establish the run. We wanted to try and establish the pass and get the vertical ball downfield. In this game, you're going to play against a team in App State. You saw what they did with North Carolina. I think it was 42 points in the fourth quarter. So they can score, right? But offensively, we got to figure out who we are. Are we a passing team or are we a running team? What's it going to be? And I think we need to establish that, especially before we play Miami.
Here you are. We're a running team that can go deep now. How about that?
Hey, man, I'll take it. As long as we light up that scoreboard, hey, you call it what you want to call it. Get in the end zone. That's all I care about.
Yeah. That's what I do when I end the show. Thank you so much for watching. I would like for you to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And then also follow us on Twitter. Follow TexAgs on Twitter. Follow David Nuno. Follow Billy Lucci. Follow Dalton. Follow Nick. Everybody. If you can't find our Twitter handle, just Google it. I'm sure it'll pop up. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.